बायोलॉजी
वो आज भी नहीं ऐसे
अरे नेक्स्ट वीक टेस्ट है रुद्र नहीं आएगा गारंटी उसका एमबीए
What you were studying the other day?
Now we completed ICSE.
No, not completed.
Almost completed.
Whenever you complete the chapter today, there's no point wrapping to that. You will hardly read anything that you can understand. But certain things, of course, you should be reading from an exam point of view. Give your textbook. What are do you have the textbook?
मेरे पास है
अरे मुझे कॉलेज
फिजिक्स की लेके आएगा कि तो मोटी थी ना वो की लिखता है इधर लाइन है टीचर इधर लाइन थी इधर ले ये लाइन
take out your volume, but anyways, I'll read out the heads and that is what we are going to discuss. The other day we have already completed with. If you want the volume, you refer to the volume also, the points of the heads must be the same. So last class we completed with consideration of water and waterborne disease. Okay, so, oh my God, this is like a pain. Contamination of water. So when we are talking about contamination of water, so this is what we are talking about. First, contamination of water, you understand what are the methods by which contamination of water can happen. कैसे होता है contamination of water मतलब क्या कैसे होगा कहाँ से
मैम
industry
majorly of course still today when we talk about the industries factories are majorly near the water bodies and they always throw their waste into the water bodies directly, but now of course there are many rules they made जो पहले 10 साल पहले नहीं था. So now many changes of course nowadays. We cannot nowadays straight away say that today also every factory industry is throwing their waste into the water. No, that is not true that much away.
Drainage is also.
Drainage. So when we are talking about the drainage system, we get to see even in Navi Mumbai, in the very planned city, no? Here also we get to see that during the monsoon, the drainage system is so badly affected. The drainage in Mumbai is so badly affected, and that is the reason for the floods that happen with the monsoon, you know. So, but see, every year it happens, and every year the same cry and new, but then no correction so far. So why does that happen? Because the wastewater and all these things are clogged, and there is no proper disposal. But now that we are talking about contamination of water, now we try to understand what are some of the diseases that may be associated with contamination of water. The first one is cholera. Underline the organism responsible. So we talk about the first disease. The first disease is cholera that we are talking about. And organism responsible. What is the organism responsible? Vibrio cholerae. So now here we are talking about the organism which is responsible. Now, when we try to understand some of the symptoms, of course, people do suffer from this disease. It's not a rare disease that we are talking about, quite frequent disease that people do suffer from, especially now that the monsoon is approaching. Quite often you will come across people suffering from this. So, ये cholera के symptoms क्या होते हैं? Vomiting, diarrhea, okay, enough amount of watery stools, diarrhea, and then vomiting. The digestion of the food does not happen because the intestines are affected by this organism, this microbe. How to generally prevent this disease? कैसे prevent होगा? How does it spread? It would generally spread by the use of clothes of an infected person, improper sanitary places where the patient must have used the sanitary places, and if a healthy person also uses without proper cleaning, yes, the person may get affected. And of course, by consumption of contaminated water. No, the water that's the reason we make it a point that the water that we are drinking should be properly clean. Either you talk about treating with electricity, or you talk about boiling, treating with chemicals, something has to be done. Electricity, as I said. So when we are talking about monsoon, what is probably correct?
That's a communicable disease, right?
So now, when we are talking about how to stop the spread, how can we stop the spread? Yes, these are the methods I just now said that it can spread. So we'll have to take a note that we are not using improper or not clean washrooms or sanitary places which are not clean, not drink water which is not properly treated, especially in monsoon, take extra care. Next is quite similar like this. We talk about dysentery, cholera, and the second that we are talking about is dysentery.
So cholera is a communicable disease, right?
Cholera is a communicable disease where yes, the infected person may be responsible for transmitting it to a healthy person.
Cholera and diarrhea or same.
No, not necessarily. Because whenever we are talking about diarrhea, diarrhea is just a symptom. And diarrhea major is a symptom where you will understand that the person is releasing watery stools, vomiting. But for cholera, the urinary tract also may be affected. For cholera, the person may be releasing or the person may be vomiting profusely and the blood becomes very thick. So that way we say that the cholera is even more dangerous than diarrhea, just diarrhea. Dysentery, when we are talking about this, two forms of dysentery. One is bacillary and the other is amoebic. Two forms of dysentery. What are the two forms of dysentery? One is bacillary, and which is caused by bacteria, and next is amoebic, which is caused by protozoa. Bacillary and amoebic, two types of dysentery that we come across. Symptoms are more or less the same. When we are talking about dysentery, then what would be the major symptom? Common symptom क्या है? Dysentery part of the body affected is the intestines again. Process of digestion is not happening properly. Digestion of food is not happening properly. Again, why? These germs, either I talk about the protozoa or I talk about the bacteria, they may be present in the food water by the way of contaminated food water. They have got their entry inside the body. And this microbe now starts settling down in the intestine, affecting the cells of the intestine, not allowing the process of digestion happen, etc. Next is we talk about prevention. How to prevent dysentery. How to prevent dysentery? Make it a point, uncovered food and water not to be consumed at all. Uncovered food and water not to be consumed at all. Now take a note of that figure, this organism. Sometimes you may be given this in the paper and asked to identify this organism which is responsible for amoebic dysentery and amoeba histologica. This is a protozoa, single cell organism. So take a note of this organism and what type of disease does it relate to? Amoebic dysentery, which is more serious. Out of these two, if I talk about bacillary and amoebic dysentery is more serious. Meaning, amoebic dysentery, a person may suffer for 1 week, 2 weeks, and maybe the person is fully okay, cured with medication. But amoebic dysentery is quite a chronic condition. Amoebic dysentery. So, काफी बार people start suffering and this medication may subside, and again it may happen after some few days, months, weeks. And quite often it has been found that amoebic dysentery people keep suffering for years. But continuously nahi, but it relapses. कुछ दिनों के लिए कम रहता है. When you take medication, again it may happen. That is called relapsing. और इसके और एक major symptom ये है, since the intestinal cells are badly affected, the process of digestion does not happen well. Along with that, along with watery stools, there is blood coming out along with the stool, bloody stools. So that is another serious condition of amoebic dysentery. The last that we talk about is hepatitis. Hepatitis. Now this you must have come across. Hepatitis. When we are talking about hepatitis, we are mainly trying to understand that the part of the body affected is the liver. Hepatitis. Part of the body affected is the liver. And here again, this is a type of a contamination disease. What is the reason? The reason is contamination of food water, majorly contamination of food water. What are some of the symptoms? Symptoms of hepatitis: fluctuating fever. Fluctuating fever will be there. The body starts becoming yellow. Now, quite similar to jaundice that we talked. Jaundice you have already heard about, no? So hepatitis, you can say, is the elder brother of jaundice. So when we are talking about, it's a serious condition, even serious than jaundice, but here also since the liver cells are affected, the liver cells which are supposed to release the bile juice, the release of bile happens into the body fluid, and this is what is responsible for the yellowing of some of the body parts, the fingertips, the lips, eyes, okay, yellowing of the body parts. So proper hygiene has to be maintained, the liver becomes enlarged, process of digestion is affected, etc. etc. So here in this chapter, you are supposed to majorly understand some of the diseases because the questions are majorly on that. And some few steps on personal and public hygiene. Only this much you are supposed to understand well in this chapter. The entire story of mosquitoes and cockroaches generally are not asked. Okay? But generally are not asked. In the papers also generally you will not be asked about basic questions or detailed questions about the life cycle of the mosquitoes or etc. What will get discussed also. But if it is there, asked by your teacher to read for your exam, then you have to read it. But that's not a very important part of the chapter. When we read, we don't put an emphasis on that. But the emphasis on this chapter is mainly on the diseases and steps of personal and community hygiene, only that. You can solve the exercise with the volume. Don't take too long. 5-10 minutes should be enough. And then we'll move on to the next chapter. What is the next chapter that is happening in your school? Cloud. That's also a very small chapter.
Ma'am, it's a bit of off topic. Ma'am, why is it when we take strong?
And this chapter will be objective test.
I will order the chapter exam for me.
I will have. Yeah, self-study. Self-study.
No, if you have also, when you study the chapter, that's why I told you, put emphasis on consequences, diseases, their names, cause and prevention. इसमें ज़्यादा questions आते हैं. And steps of public hygiene, personal hygiene. Don't start memorizing and studying the mosquito and the cockroach and all these parts. उससे ज़्यादा questions नहीं आता है. Okay. Confirm with your teacher.
हम क्लास में एक्सरसाइज करना ना सर.
हाँ, volume की exercise के लिए कर लो.
The preview exercise.
So now when we take very strong medicines and all, then why the experience?
I didn't get it.
When we take very strong medical, Golia and all, very strong medicines, tablets. So why is the experience is affected, ma'am?
Yeah, ma'am, that's energy power.
The energy power is when you talk about strong medication. Say suppose quite a number of times for certain critical diseases, doctors have to prescribe medicines which are basically steroids in nature. अगर steroids है, या तो अगर steroids नहीं भी है, there are certain strong chemical compositions in the form of medicine. When we consume one type of ailments that the doctors are trying to heal, वो शायद ठीक हो जाए, but since the chemical composition is something very strong which our body cells cannot convert them into simpler form. और यहाँ पर हमारे बॉडी में वैसे एंजाइम नहीं है which can convert them into simpler form and excrete them out. So इसीलिए these toxic forms remain in our blood for a longer period of time and they start affecting the body function, cellular functions. So अभी ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा this type of chemical substances will remain in the blood and every time they will go into the kidneys and other the kidneys are majorly affected. हाँ, but काफी सारे medicines से suppose now we are taking paracetamol. Paracetamol से तो कुछ होता नहीं है.
No, but very strong, ma'am.
नहीं, high power अगर लेते हैं उसमें भी problem होगा. But there are some strong, when you say strong, meaning certain composition.
Yes.
है ना? अब कुछ medicines है जो हम बचपन से लेते आ रहे हैं, but nothing much has happened. क्यों? क्योंकि वो सारे chemicals our body can break them down into simpler forms, and of course they are getting excreted by the way of the filtration by the kidneys. अब जब steroids, I named some group जहाँ पे the body cannot break them down into simpler form, तो वो toxicity बना रहता है body में for a longer period of time.
Okay, and that is.
And since the blood is constantly circulating, तो वो toxic chemical बार-बार हमारे body organs को छू रहा है, touch हो रहा है, especially the kidneys बार-बार उसी से pass through होने की कोशिश कर रहा है, and that's the reason these are the organs which are becoming fatal and becoming less effective. They start losing their efficiency. हाँ, ऑनलाइन कौन है?
आशिता।
अच्छा,
मैम ऑनलाइन के लिए मैम पार्टिसिपेंट लेवल चाहिए।
वो वाला दें ना ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट्स how many of you are there? How many of you are there online? Yes, repeat.
Yes ma'am.
Can you hear me, online students? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is there? Ashita. And who else? Mr.
It's only me.
Only me. Acha. No, Mr. Rudra is not.
मैम रुद्र तो हमारे साइड
What is larvae?
मैम MBBS रहता है ना इसलिए।
Larvae is a young insect which will get converted
No, it's
into
not
an
that.
adult.
Okay, no, it's not that.
No, larvae is small caterpillars.
Young insect you can say.
But still, it's not that.
Oh my
Obvious
god.
movie, okay.
Oh my god. Oh
You know how particular.
Okay. For me.
अच्छा, तो बेटा लोगों के पास वॉल्यूम भी नहीं है।
ये नहीं वो physics के लायक।
हमारा नसीब है जब हम एग्जीक्यूटिव स्टूडेंट्स को पढ़ा रहे हैं,
वही तो स्कॉलर
हैं। टेक्स्ट बुक तो लाते ही नहीं है, सवाल ही नहीं, वॉल्यूम भी नहीं लाते, नोटबुक बस ऐसे ही बस अपना बॉडी लेके आके वही बोल रहे हैं। हमने जो आपको दर्शन दे दिया, हफ्ते में वही बोल रहे हैं। तुम करो तो सही, बना काम करो। Ashita, what happened to you? Why online today?
Ma'am, I'm not well.
I give you just 10 minutes. 10 minutes is ज़्यादा नहीं। क्या बोल रहे हैं?
Ma'am, यहाँ पे the question is mentioned in the following statements are true or false about a housefly, and it is particularly attracted to sweet foodstuffs and rotten meat. So it's false.
It's false.
It is attracted to rotten meat.
It is.
It is attracted to
What
rotten
is
meat.
there?
It is
How-
particularly attracted to rotten fruit.
एक जन कोई पढ़ो ना।
Ma'am, it is particularly attracted to sweet foodstuffs and rotten meat.
कौन सा? क्या एग्जाम? कौन सा?
Housefly.
Housefly. Housefly is particularly attracted to
Sweet foodstuffs and rotten meat. Ma'am, should it true because it is attracted to rotten meat?
Particularly.
particularly attracted to no.
Ma'am, false.
It's false.
Housefly.
And feces are the thing.
Oh
Housefly.
my god.
This is not the favorite food of housefly. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. But majorly housefly, you'll always find them wherever process of decomposition is happening. Fecal matter है, garbage है, decomposition है, वहाँ पे housefly बहुत मिलेगा. तो इसलिए you cannot say that food से का housefly आएगा, not that way. Tissues test here overall this chapter tissues over
Ma'am, it should be 8 hours.
yeah 8 hours.
A young person up to 18 years of age. अरे तो पहले क्वेश्चन तो
A young person up to 18 years of age needs dash hours sleep 7 or 12. 7 to 8
8 should be enough.
लेकिन यहाँ 7
An adult should get at least 7 hours.
when you talk about your age, that is 6 years, 7 years to 12 years, 15 years. Generally it is
7 to 12.
6 to 8 hours.
6 hours. 8 hours also and 9 hours.
Smoking for
9 hours to भाई.
For children, it is almost 8 to 10 hours.
Children like us.
छोटे बच्चे, तुम तो बड़े बच्चे हो, बड़े बच्चों के लिए 8-9 hours is enough. 8 hours is enough.
लोग से भी ज्यादा सोते हैं।
अभी नहीं
अभी तो कैसे ऐसे 7 घंटे
सैटरडे को भी ना मेरे को 6 घंटा नींद मिलती है। हाँ, मैं तो सोता ही रहता हूँ।
So weekdays if you don't get sleep, so you should make it a point that at least on Saturday, Sunday, Saturday.
I'm Muslim.
मैं वो भी नहीं मिलता। ये सैटरडे को छुट्टी था। मैम को भी ऑनलाइन क्लास किया मैम। मैं आज भी ऑनलाइन क्लास। इनका हमारा वही तक था।
इनका जल्दी खत्म है।
तुम लोगों को लास्ट टाइम में था ना इसलिए।
Online class for why exams are there.
आज
मैम 11 जुलाई को बहुत टाइम। मैम एग्जाम
11 जुलाई
बहुत टाइम की इधर क्या
बहुत टाइम तब 15 दिन
हमारा 11 जन चालू हो रहा है।
This is non-coin.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Also non-coin.
1 2 3 4 5
Except me, St. Mary's.
and that fourth guy.
No, she is the other one is also
आज
St.
तक सेंड
Mary's. मेरे
मैम fourth guy is different only.
दुनिया ही
जो नहीं आया ना
Chewing tobacco when we do oral cancer.
सीधा छाप रही है सोचता भी नहीं
कौन अभी अभी तो रेजर कंप्लीट हो रहा है बड़ा किधर है अरे मैम सिखाती तो ध्यान देना रहता है समझ कौन बोल रहा है तो क्या मैम खुद तो
I'm impressed. Impressed.
हाँ बोल बच्चे ने मैम तो क्या मैं खुद
अच्छा चलो मुंह बंद करो फटाफट करो देख के करो बिना देखे करो बहुत ही सिंपल चैप्टर है फटाफट कंप्लीट करो
What is
What is
Gamnesia?
Gambusia? That's a predator fish.
that's the way.
है तो
It's on mosquito larvae. Mosquito larvae खाता है. Gambusia.
Approach में
वो अच्छा लगता है हाँ accumulation of bacteria बड़ा
you know what is prostate cancer
Prostate gland is a excretory gland in the main body near the excretory organs. It all has too much of fluorine. If you brush your teeth 5 times a day, तब भी tooth decay होगा. क्योंकि toothpaste में fluorine रहता है. So we should not. It's not that अगर हम दो बार की जगह 6 बार ब्रश करेंगे तो हमारा टीथ खराब हो जाएगा.
हाँ मुंडा ना हमें ज्यादा ब्रश किया ना मैम तो येलो हो जाता है हमारे
ज़्यादा नहीं. और इसलिए you should choose the toothpaste also.
ज्यादा ब्रश नहीं करना
आगे यार अलग ही होता है ना
और मैम उधर है ना पीछे वो ब्लैक ऐसे कुछ साइन रहता है ना वो सब दिखा रहा है कि वो पूरा केमिकल से बना है इससे बना है
But what is fumigation?
Fumigation ये जो हमारे सोसाइटी में आके एनिमल्स से तो देखिए दो
मैम दैट्स वो
they are spraying some chemicals in the mosquito to kill the mosquito larvae.
मैम क्लास
हो गया?
No ma'am, अबे होमवर्क है वो क्लास में करना है। अरे दिखाई नहीं देता ना छोटा है। स्कॉलर है तू। स्कॉलर। हमें क्या करना चाहिए?
सब हो गया
नहीं करना है।
बहुत ही सिंपल है कोई कंफ्यूजन है कोई क्वेश्चन है
मैम बस
चिड़िया में तो कुछ नहीं है।
एक मिनट
बोलो
fumigation of built buildings with dash gives immediately from cockroach menace. मैम CH4 या HCN?
HCN
CH4 से फ्यूमिगेशन मिलने से कभी फ्यूमिगेशन नहीं
वो
होगा
लगा मैंने भी फिर सुना था
तो फ्यूमिगेशन इज बेसिकली either with DDT या तो BHC ऐसे करके करते हैं now we'll start with
फ्लावर
turn to the part of the chapter
अभी नोट
Flower.
करेंगे
मैम आप पीछे पेन ड्राइव वाला कुछ
pen drive no today I don't need अच्छा let us learn some definitions of the जरूरत होगा तो I will see but how do I share this girl is there ना यहाँ पे दो बार
मैम आपको स्क्रीन शेयर मैम स्क्रीन शेयर करना
first of all let us take the first part of the chapter where take out your notebook take out your notebook you will have to draw this diagram start
मैं बहुत शरीर है to draw this right
notebook निकालो फटाफट
हाँ मैम रेडी है
हाँ draw करना
जो जनरल में भी खाना
मैम हायरिंग का क्या हुआ है
अरे अभी भी तो था जनरल में कमेंट करना नेक्स्ट जनरल
अरे हाँ
जर्नल आपको समझना है जो मैं बोल रहा हूँ वो समझ अरे मेरी पेंटिंग
एकदम ठीक से आ रहा है मुझे
चलो नहीं है तुम्हारा वो कोड करना होगा क्या बोलते हैं वाइट कन्वेंशन इसको सब वाइट कन्वेंशन
अरे
उसको ज्यादा सेकंड होना उसके लिए कॉम्प्लीमेंट है बोलता है आई डोंट नो उसको चप्पल से
हाँ हमारा ये जो न्यूज़ चैनल है ना ये बाद में चला
वही ना इंग्लिश पढ़ाई थे
ये
ये तो नाम पेन से ड्रॉ कर
भाई का हो जाने दो उसके बाद ये न्यूज़ चैनल ऑन करो
भाई नाजू तो पाउच ही नहीं लाता
टेंशन नहीं क्या है तुम्हारे पास ना बुक रहता है ना पेंसिल रहता है यू सपोज टू ब्रिंग अ पेंसिल टू ड्रॉ द डायग्राम्स you're not supposed to draw with pen all of it
What is this?
what is this no this other point that I have to say So first of all, look into this. What are you studying? Flower. We have taken a very simple example. This is an example of a shoe flower in this first China rose. No? So what are the parts that you get to see? Very simple to understand here. A longitudinal section of the flower when you draw. A longitudinal, this is a longitudinal section of the flower that you are drawing. What are the parts that you try to understand? What are the parts? First is we talk about the parts like the sepals, petals, the male reproductive part, and the female reproductive part. So these are the four regions. First of all, we are trying to understand the sepals or calyx. The sepals or calyx. What are some of the features? They are green in color. Sepals or calyx, green in color always. They may be basically in numbers like 5. या तो multiples of 5 भी होता है. Basically 5. Then what are some of their functions? Calyx, what is their function? वैसे तो since they are green in color, they undergo the process of photosynthesis. And another function is they protect the flower when it is in the bud condition. So protect the flower bud. This is the function that you write. What is the function of the calyx? The function of the calyx, major function, carries out photosynthesis. So by the way of photosynthesis, it is also manufacturing food, helping the plant parts, helping the leaves to manufacture food. And you also must have noticed that whenever we are talking about, say suppose the rose bud we get to see, when these leaf-like structures, the petals, if at all, when the flower is in the bud condition, let me see if I have a picture there. When the flower is in the bud condition, quite often you must have come across that when the flower is in the bud condition, did you ever see a rose bud? Very common, no? Rose bud कभी देखा है? हाँ? तो rose bud में वो petals दिखता है कि वो green leaf-like structure ज़्यादा दिखता है? Green leaf-like structure दिखता है. अब उसका knowledge उसके पास है. आप खरीदा भी होगा उसने, है ना? कभी घर के लिए नहीं खरीदा?
हम घर पे था ना.
अच्छा, घर पे था. So now when we are talking about the rose or any other such type of flowers, the calyx protects the flower when it is young, the bud of the flower, that's a young flower. No? So the calyx is majorly the protective leaf-like structure. It is protecting the bud. After when the flower is growing, what is the position of the calyx? It will take the base of the flower. When the flower has bloomed, it will take the base of the flower. But overall, it will as it is carry out the process of photosynthesis. But when the flower was young, but it was protecting the young parts of the flower. We talk about next petals. Petals or corolla. So what are some of the features to understand for the petals or corolla? Petals or corolla, if I write down here, some of the features. Petals or corolla, they are brightly colored majorly.
They are attractive.
They are brightly colored. Quite a number of times they may be scented also, no, the petals. So when we are talking about that the petals, they are brightly colored. And why this? Because they attract agents, not only insect, attract agents for pollination. They attract agents for pollination. So that is their function. Other than this, no, the corolla or the petals, they are not doing any other function. This is their function to write. Now we talk about the male reproductive part. What is this? The male reproductive part. What is the male reproductive part known as? The male reproductive part is known as the stamen. What are the two parts of the stamen? Anther, filament. What does the anther do? The anther produces pollen grains. The anther produces the pollen grains. And from the pollen grains, we are going to get the male cells of the flower. It is the pollen grains which are going to give rise to the male cells of the flower. So what is the function of the stamen? The stamen is basically a lobe-like structure. Lobes meaning, if I draw this entire structure with more in detail, I get to see that it is actually a structure this way. अब इसका अगर cross section निकाला जाए, then how should it appear? It is actually a structure something like this, where there are some chambers, and inside each of these chambers, these granular structures are there in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. So what are these sac-like structures called? These are called pollen sac. Every anther has 4 pollen sac and 2 lobes. Lobes meaning 2 chambers like this, 2 compartments I can say, 2 lobes they have, bilobes they are. So every single stamen, anther is bilobed, 2 lobes होते हैं, and हर एक लोब में 2 chamber होता है. So ultimately, how many chambers in one anther? 4. And what is happening in those sac-like structures? The formation of the pollen grains. And once this is fully matured, the outer lining will break up and the pollen grains will be blown out. Then, if they come in contact with the stigma, which is the female part of the flower, then the process of pollination is complete, and the next stage is fertilization. So how?
वो petals of corolla में वो second one क्या brightly colored दिखा है?
Brightly colored, they are scented also. Fragrance भी रहता है ना in some of the plants. What are the female parts of the flower? Now we are talking about the stigma, style, and the ovary. And these 3 parts, the stigma, style, and ovary together results in the formation of the carpel, also known as the pistil. The carpel, also known as pistil. So what is carpel? Female part of the flower. What are the parts? It has got the stigma, a long neck-like structure, style, and the swollen structure known as the ovary. Down here in the ovary, if I talk about, what are some of the functions you are supposed to write down then for this? Majorly, if I talk about the stigma helps in.
Ma'am, carpel or pistil is the female reproductive part of the plant.
Carpel or pistil is the female reproductive part of the plant. So I'm talking about the stigma. What is the major function of the stigma? Helps in the landing of the pollen grains. The landing of the pollen grains. So this is the function that you should write for stigma. Style. What is the function of the style? In the later parts, you'll come across that if now I say that the pollen grain has come here, and the correct type of pollen grain has come in contact with the correct type of the stigma, then what? Then this pollen will undergo the process of germination and result in the formation of a long tube-like structure. And this is what we are talking about as the pollen tube to initiate the process of fertilization. So this pollen tube is formed, the very long pollen tube is formed only by the process of cell division. And the entire neck-like region that is known as the style is packed with nutrition, which has been used up for the formation of this pollen tube. Then what is the function of the style that you are supposed to write? Provides nourishment. It provides nourishment for the formation of the pollen tube. It provides nourishment for the formation of the pollen tube. For the formation of the pollen tube, or later you will also come across this word, germination of the pollen. The entire process of formation of the pollen tube and the formation of the male cell is called germination. Let us talk about some features about the ovary. The ovary has chambers. What are the chambers of the ovary known as? Chambers are known as ovules. The ovary has chambers, and the chambers of the ovary are known as ovules. And it is the ovary which is the site of fertilization. It is the ovary which is the site of fertilization, and it is the ovary which will form the seed or later the fruit in total. So when we are talking about the ovary is going to form the fruit, and we'll understand later in the next chapter that it is the ovule which is going to form the seed. So the ovule will form the seed, and the entire ovary will get transformed into the fruit. So right now I'm talking about only the ovary. So I said, what is the ovary doing? The ovary first of all has got chambers, and the number of chambers would vary. In some fruit, you come across the number of chambers, or in some flower, you come across the ovary has got only one chamber. In some 2, in some 4, in some 8, and in some many also. Whatever number of chambers, that means number of seeds, generally. So I talk about mango which has one seed. And I talk about jackfruit which has many seeds. So what do I conclude? That for the flower of mango, generally the ovary has got one chamber. And for jackfruit, the flowers have got many chambers. The ovary has got many chambers. So this is basically a concept to understand that what is the ovary? The main site of the female reproductive part, where the process of fertilization is happening, and that is what is going to give rise to the fruit. And it has got chambers. What is the name of the chambers? Ovule. So अब जो ये 4 part हमने सीखा है, what did we study? Calyx or petals, sepals, corolla or petals, stamen and carpel. These 4 parts are called the holes of the flower. What are holes of the flower? The 4 parts that we studied just now. Calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium. Now what is androecium? If I talk about the stamen in a bundle, then I should say that stamen in a bundle is known as androecium. What is androecium? A bundle of stamens, androecium. Then here when we are talking about the carpel again, the bundle of carpel, what will be the bundle of carpel known as? The bundle of carpel will be known as gynoecium. Gynoecium. What is gynoecium? The bundle of carpel, pistil. Bundle of stamen, bundle of carpel. So again I come to this word. What is the meaning of this word? Holes. The 4 parts of a flower. Abhi, this out of these 4 parts, now let me go to this point. Out of these 4 parts, what are the 4 parts? Just now I said calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium. Abhi, in 4 में से 2 parts, that is petals and sepals, they are not directly involved in the process of fertilization, but they have some other functions. Then which are the 2 parts which is directly involved in the process of fertilization, pollination, fertilization? The stamen and the carpel. Stamen से pollen grains बनेगा, and carpel में है ovary जहाँ पे fertilization होगा. So I would say that it is the stamen and the carpel, or say the androecium or the gynoecium, which is the major part of a flower, which are directly involved in the process of fertilization and reproduction. I'll come to you. Essential and non-essential. Now, what is the meaning of this? Essential part of a flower, कौन से हुए अभी? The androecium and gynoecium, or the stamen and the carpel. Why you are saying that these are the essential part? Because they are directly involved in the process of reproduction. Which are the non-essential parts? Corolla and calyx, corolla. Why? Because directly they are not involved in the process of reproduction. हाँ बोलो. Next is essential, non-essential हो गया. Now let us talk about complete, incomplete flower. What is the meaning of a complete flower? A flower which has all the 4 holes. A flower which has all the 4 holes, like calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium, चारों की चारों parts उस flower में है. Then we say this flower is a complete flower. Very simple example, the China rose. The China rose, a very simple flower. But at the same time, when I talk about the flowers of papaya, cucumber, gold, etc., they would not have the androecium and gynoecium both. Either androecium है या तो gynoecium है. Then such type of a flower will be termed as incomplete. Then what is the definition of an incomplete flower? A flower which does not have all the 4 holes. A flower which does not have all the 4 holes. कोई ना कोई एक hole का absence है. अब ज़्यादातर in the flowers we generally don't see calyx or corolla absent. Calyx or corolla तो हर एक flower में होता है. Some flowers will not have the stamen, and some flowers will not have the carpel, and some flowers will have both. Flowers basically 3 तरह के होते हैं. Some flowers will have the stamen and the calyx, corolla. Some flowers will have the carpel and the calyx corolla, and some flowers will have both calyx corolla, androgen, gynogen, चारों के चार. So if the flower has all the four, then we say this is a complete flower, also known as a perfect flower. And if a flower does not have any of these, किसी में stamen नहीं है तो किसी में carpel नहीं है, then what do we say such type of flowers as incomplete or imperfect? Almost the same thing. Incomplete या तो imperfect flower. Now, when we are talking about imperfect or incomplete flower, again, यहाँ पे when I talk about incomplete or imperfect flower, here we are majorly again trying to understand a flower which is incomplete. Again, maybe either a female flower or a male flower, and a flower which is complete is basically a bisexual or a hermaphrodite, bisexual or a hermaphroditic flower. So when we are talking about what is it, जो complete flower है, उसमें तो stamen और carpel दोनों ही हैं. So such type of flowers can also be termed as a bisexual flower. What is the other term? Hermaphrodite. Hermaphrodite. या तो hermaphrodite या hermaphroditic flower. Hermaphrodite. And अगर if I am talking about an incomplete flower, तो इसमें I already told you incomplete flower में क्या absent हो सकता है, या तो stamen या तो carpel. Stamen या तो carpel. So when I talk about the stamen या तो carpel absent, such type of flowers will be termed as female. अगर stamen absent है, then the flower is becoming a female flower. Or I say the other way, अगर stamen present है, then that's a male flower. Carpel खाली present है, then that's a female flower. अब ऐसा भी हो सकता है where a flower which is an incomplete flower खाली calyx और corolla से ही बन सकता है. A flower which has only the calyx or the corolla does not possess any reproductive part. Such type of flower is known as a neuter flower. Neuter flower. क्या है neuter flower? Which does not have any reproductive part. ना तो stamen है, ना तो carpel है. The flower is only made up of corolla and calyx. Now the question is, अगर ऐसा वाला कोई flower है, then how does the plant give rise to new plants? Many plants can give rise to new plants from their vegetative parts, like the root, stem, leaves. जरूरी नहीं है कि हर एक plant should give rise to the seed by the way of the flower and then a new plant. तो बहुत सारे ऐसे plants हैं which can give rise to new plants from their vegetative parts.
नाम जो fruit का seed रहता है उससे plant grow कर सकते हैं.
From the
fruit का जो seed रहता है.
हाँ, from that only. But if you just throw them into your garden from the window, वहाँ से अभी नहीं निकलेगा, because the conditions are not applicable or appropriate for us. No? But हाँ निकलता भी है, ऐसा भी निकलता है, ऐसे suppose out of the 5 mango seeds or 10 mango seeds that you must have thrown, कभी ना कभी उसमें से भी एक नया plant निकलेगा. But provided that the conditions are appropriate or not.
तो हम लोग इधर ऐसे आम का झाड़ क्यों करते हैं? मतलब उसमें आम ही नहीं रहता. अरे मतलब
when you talk about the mango plants or any other plant, खाली mango नहीं, I may talk about the guava plants. उसमें शायद during the season appropriate number of guava नहीं हो, because quite a number of times these plants they may be producing the fruit one season or दूसरे 2 season में नहीं. Then again, not necessarily that every season they are giving rise to a good number of fruits. Commonly ऐसा नहीं होता. But if we talk about the fruit garden, the farmers are applying various methods जिसमें हर साल that particular plant is being tested. तो ये तो of course seed quality पे भी depend करेगा what type of quality of the seed. But normally अगर हम देखें this particular plant has given rise to fruit this year, अगले 2 साल शायद नहीं देगा, फिर से और तीसरे साल में फिर से fruit देगा, ऐसा होता है. So are these terms clear? What do you understand by the word molds? What is the meaning of complete, incomplete? What is the meaning of essential, non-essential, perfect, imperfect? Okay. Now we talk about one word, variant. This definition you have to remember. Variant. अभी इस diagram में देखो, इस picture में देखो. Now we are talking about this flower. Calyx and corolla differentiated है कि नहीं? Is the calyx and corolla differentiable? Corolla is bright orange in color. Calyx is green in color. But sometimes the condition is this way. कौन सा है calyx? कौन सा है corolla?
Sorry, corolla is
white and
red.
सारे white and pink ही है.
हाँ वो green part है वो calyx है ना थोड़ा बीच का part.
नहीं ये तो leaves है.
मैम गैलेक्सी नॉट
ये वाला.
पेटल का color.
गैलेक्सी नीचे होता है
ये हो गया reproductive
वो
organs.
पीछे का है.
ये these are the proper leaves, main leaves these are. these are the proper reproductive.
reproductive part के वो बाजू में क्या green part.
ये वाला this is the central region जो petals और
गैलेक्सी नीचे
petals के जो starting region है.
देख सकते हैं
These are exceptional flowers जहाँ पे sepals and or petals and sepals are undifferentiated. You cannot differentiate them. They are almost same looking. Size may be and color may be. So there are some special plants where, like the salvia and all, these are not very common flowers. There are some flowers where the petals and sepals, that's why इनको sepals बोला जाता है. Sepals and petals together, उनको बोला जाता है sepals. So now they are same looking. The sepals and petals you cannot differentiate. If that is the case, then that is what is known as perianth. This condition of the flower is known as perianth. What is perianth? The condition where sepals and petals of the flower are undifferentiated. But undifferentiated bouquet means if the sepals and petals are colored, मतलब sepals and petals जो undifferentiated है, if they are colored अगर है, brightly colored, then they are known as petaloid. Something जैसे वैसे. Colored है ना? But sometimes ऐसा भी होगा. अच्छा देखो और भी examples. Here I am talking about the sepals and petals are almost same looking. Same looking. You cannot differentiate. But they are brightly colored. अगर brightly colored है, then they are petaloid. But sepals and petals, you cannot differentiate. एक ही जैसे दिख रहा है sepals and petals को, but they are green. They are green. So it can be two types. या तो green है या तो non-green है. Green हो सकता है. I say the other way, but I say perianth क्या है? Or is perianth a condition in the flower when the sepals and petals cannot be differentiated? But वही sepals and petals अगर non-green है, non-green, orange हो सकता है, red हो सकता है. Non-green अगर है, then हम उसको बोलेंगे that is a petaloid condition. और अगर green है, तो उसको बोलेंगे cephaloid condition. Perianth के दो तरह के condition होता है. Perianth can be of two types, petaloid या तो cephaloid. आया समझ में? What is the definition of perianth? ये याद रखना है. Condition of flowers when the sepals and petals are undifferentiated. Cannot be undifferentiated नहीं.
cannot be differentiated
Cannot be differentiated or are undifferentiated. ठीक है? तो सेपलोइड और पेटलोइड में डिफरेंस क्या बोला आपने मैंने? सेपलोइड अगर है तो ग्रीन है, पेटलोइड अगर है तो नॉन ग्रीन है. ओके, we'll continue again. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
हमने गलत मेथड से पेन
You have to eject safety. वही तो eject